Are you tired of your marriage? Do you want to quit? Do you want to just go your separate ways and just get separated, get divorced? 2 years ago, I was in that same exact position. I was frustrated. I wanted to just give up, get divorced, and just the whole thing was crazy. So therefore, in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you tips and things that helped me navigated that trying times of my marriage and helped me came out triumphant into this place of understanding, of love and trust. If this is something that resonates with you, definitely watch to the very end, and trust me, from the brink of separation to the depth of understanding, how was I able to get to this point? In this video, I'm going to be sharing 5 tips, 5 things that helped me, enabled me come to this place of understanding, and I am grateful. I never give up. I'm grateful. Without further ado, let's get right into the video. The number one thing on my list, first thing that helped me navigated that trying time in my marriage, is communication. Communication is very important in every relationship, especially in marriage relationship. The funny thing is, a lot of people will be like, okay, yeah, communication is like, everybody knows, almost everybody knows communication is key, but how do we truly communicate? How effective is our communication? I also knew that communication is important. Before I got married, I had a lot of head knowledge. I knew, okay, fine, you have to communicate. But having a lot of head knowledge and being in the marriage relationship, these are two different things. It's very easy. Like some people will say it's easier said than done. It's when you're in the relationship, when you're experiencing it, that is when you'll be able to like tell firsthand how these things are. So communication is very, very key. Effective communication. As a married couple, as a married woman, you need to communicate. The oil that helps the engine of every relationship, especially marriage relationship. When I first got married, I was of the opinion that in my mind, I'm like, if something happens, I expect my husband to like sometimes bring up this topic and let's talk about it. But he's not the type that wants to, talk about these things. Men generally are not so, some of them are not so expressive. Women are more expressive of their emotions. So with time, it was a big problem for me. It became very frustrating. I had a lot on my mind. I had a lot of expectation. I had a lot, like I was screaming out in my mind. I was just screaming, okay, but nobody could hear me. So eventually we started communicating. In communication, you have to talk about everything, the big, the small, the tiny, the incident, the ones you think are not even important. You have to talk about everything. Nothing should be left out. You discuss your expectations, you discuss your desires, everything, anything you feel. This is the beginning of a good turnaround for the relationship, especially when it's bad. When you start talking about things, when you start expressing your feelings, your desires, when you start communicating more, that is when a lot of things come to bear. All right, that's when you understand that, okay, this person doesn't like this, she doesn't like this, he's like this, she's like that, but if you do not communicate, there is no way on earth your spouse is going to know about this thing. So communication is very, very, very important. That was one of the things I was lacking in my relationship, and the moment I knew that, we started communicating. Trust me, around that was a turnaround I needed in this marriage, and I am glad I was able to do that, and we are still doing that till date. It's not, we don't stop. We continue to communicate, but we started communicating at that point effectively. Expressing our desires, expressing our expectations. Because come to think of it, I'm a kind of person that sometimes you offend me and I don't say it. I expect you to just realize that you've offended me. You're supposed to, but in marriage is always not like that. Alright, so communication is so important. It was in the process of communication that I realized that there are so many things I was angry about. I thought my husband had offended me in this way, and he doesn't even know that he has offended me in this way. And there I was, just angry and emotional about these things and all. But in the process of he let me know that I didn't even know that you don't like something like this, or you don't like this. Communication is very, very vital. This is when everything comes to bear. Even and the way I'm understanding him is the way he is also understanding me. So communication is very, very, very important. Okay, so the next point is forgiveness. forgiveness is also equally important. Like I said, I'm saying this thing in the order in which it worked for me, and I'll suggest if you're going to follow through with these points, you're going to follow through with the way I am, like I'm taking them one after the other in the way in which it worked for me. Now, for forgiveness is very, very important. When you're married to your husband, you're one. I mean, I can't imagine not forgiving yourself. Like when you're angry with your husband and you have refused to forgive him, I can't imagine not, like it's almost as if you're not forgiving yourself. Okay, so it cannot, when you have resentment, it will not work, because a lot of things will not just flow. And I'm a kind of person that I can be emotional when I have something in my mind, and I don't, when that thing is still in my mind, I won't be myself. You won't get the best of me. If I'm resenting you, you will definitely not get the best of me. So the best thing is forgiveness. So, and also some people find it difficult to let go of things. We are different. All right, people react differently, people take things differently. Some people take time to process a lot of things. I am one of those kind of people. Sometimes I take time to process, yes, this is what you did to me, and why would you have to do this? You have to, sometimes you want to romance that hurt, that all of that, process it, take it before you let go. But in marriage, I have learned that forgiveness has to be spontaneous. You don't have to wait until 6 months before you forgive your spouse. You don't have to wait until 1 year, 2 weeks, 2 days. No, forgiveness is on the go. Right now, as I'm speaking to you, honestly, I forgive my husband in advance. Yes, like, because offenses would abound. It's not as if he's going to offend me one time and that's the end. He's going to continue to offend me. We're all human beings. We're not perfect. All right, we make mistakes. Even I also offend him from time to time. So now that I understand that offenses are going to abound, like for life, so I forgive him in advance. So that way, it's not as if I'm not going to get angry when he does something that is wrong, or that is hurting my feeling, or like I don't like. I get angry momentarily, I tell him, and then I forgive him and I forget it. At some point, when we began communicating and embarked on this journey, we had an agreement, because bringing out past offenses, when you're having quarrel with your spouse, and then you bring out past offense, something that has happened like 3 5 years ago, or maybe 2 weeks ago or 2 days ago, and then you bring it up again, it shows that it's very much in your mind, and probably you have not forgiven your spouse. So we had an agreement that once we've discussed about this thing, once you forgive, you don't bring it back again. All right, you don't recall things that have happened before, especially things that you've forgiven your spouse about. So that was what really, really helped us. So I was bound by this decision, even though sometimes I wanted to, but I couldn't, because we had an agreement. All right, so when I'm talking about offenses, please, this is a disclaimer. I am not saying you should stay in a relationship, in a very abusive relationship, where the man is physical with you, beating you up and all of that. I am not saying that. Talking about minor offenses, like in our everyday life. Maybe let me give you a typical example. Sometimes you might say, help me pick up these things from the superstore, or help me get the keys, I'll be late, or this and that, and then he forgets to buy this, or he forgets to do this, or he does something. These are kind of offenses I'm talking about. So if you're in an abusive marriage, in an abusive relationship where your life is under threat, I would suggest you give it a break, because it is only the person who is alive that can be in a marriage and that can be in a relationship. All right, so with that being said, I'm going to go to my next point. All right, and my next point is respect. Now, if there's something every man truly values, is respect. Every man loves to be respected. Most men, in fact all men, they have this very big ego. No matter how small a man is, no matter how gentle a man is, no matter how quiet he is, he loves to be respected. And that is even what that is one thing he needs. Even biblically, the Bible says we should be submissive as wives. And submission is all about respect. It's all about respect, giving him his due respect. And the truth of the matter is, if you do not forgive your husband, if you do not communicate freely, there is no way you'll be able to respect him. There is no way you'll be able to submit to a man you do not respect. It's not even possible. All right. So this should be somebody who you consider as human being like you, and he has offended you. You are forgiving him. You communicate freely with him. That way, respect is going to just flow naturally. You'll be able to submit. Okay. Also, respect is not a one-sided thing. Like some people will say, yeah, my wife does not respect me, but do you respect your wife? Respect is a two-way. It is it's both. It cuts across both sides. You have to respect your wife. How do you speak to your wife in public? How do you talk to your husband in public? How do you there are a lot of little things that you do, and then sometimes you come off as disrespectful. So respect in this essence, I'm talking about a marriage relationship, is not just about the wife dishing out the respect, it's also about the husband also respecting your wife. But in this case, a man needs more respect. A man is more particular about respect. A man might want to leave a marriage relationship just because he doesn't feel respected, but a woman might not want to consider leaving that marriage relationship because she doesn't feel respected. Okay, so that is how important respect is to a man. So if you have this understanding, trust me, once you have this understanding, you already have the keys in your hand. And once you have the keys in your hand, you're going to have a smooth relationship. So the next tip is appreciation. I think that's a fourth tip. All right, that's the first fourth aspect of the whole thing. It's appreciation. You need to appreciate your spouse. Everybody needs to be appreciated. Everybody needs to like, you need to appreciate him for the little things, the big things, whatever it is. Sometimes you just wake him up and like, baby, I appreciate you for the things you do. How you do this, how you do that, perseverance, even with all of my shortcomings. I just, one thing with appreciation is it works like magic. Take God, for example, when we praise him, we worship him for the things he has done for us, he tends to do more. That is exactly the way it is with human beings. Why? Because we're created in God's image. When you appreciate your husband, if he does something, even if it's simple, you appreciate him, you thank him, he tends to do more because he's basking in that appreciation. He's happy. He wants to do more so that he can get that treatment, that appreciation you're giving him. He wants to do more. All right. Right, and one thing appreciation does is it kind of makes your husband, I'm speaking for myself now, it made my husband like, it makes him open up more to you. It makes him open up more to me. So when you appreciate your husband, he's gonna open up to you because he's not feeling judged. And when he feels that he's safe with you, you're not judging him, you appreciate him for who he is, for his flaws, for his mistakes, for just being himself. He's gonna open up to you, tell you more about himself, open up to you about his challenges, and he's gonna be a loving husband. And then also, one mistake we ladies make is, sometimes, I think it's a human thing, it's in human nature. Like sometimes you when somebody makes a mistake, you just forget every other thing the person has been doing, every other thing the person has been doing right, and then you focus on that one mistake that the person has done. I think I'm also speaking to myself in this case. All right. As human being, our brain tend to just detect error, error, error. We don't When we see good things, of course they are good, but if somebody does 10 things and then he's wrong in one, you forget the 9 that are correct and good, and then you focus on that one that he has done mistaken. And this is very, very something that we need to work on. Like I said, these things I'm telling you are not just a one-time thing. I did these things, and I'm still doing them, and I'm still going to continue to do them. It's not just a one-time thing. All right, so every day we get better, every day we get better with everyday life, because every day comes with different new challenges. And that's why we also have to keep doing these things every day so that our relationship can be smooth and flawless. So appreciation, that's a very powerful tool. If you know how to use appreciation, honestly, you're going to turn that man into a very, very loving husband. He's going to love you effortlessly because he feels appreciated around you. He feels you're not going to judge him at every point and at every turn. He's going to, he feels he can tell you about things, and you're not going to like look at his error. Appreciation is good. All right, so appreciate him for the little things, like I said, for the big things and for the small thing. Even if it's just, honey, if you're coming back from work, please buy a loaf of bread, and then he buys a loaf of bread when he's come back from work. Appreciate him. Or he goes to the grocery store and gets you some grocery. Appreciate him. These things might seem very little, but when you appreciate him for the things, for these things, he becomes like super pumped and he wants to do more. Okay, so appreciation is very, very important, and it's not just about it's not one-sided. Women also need to be appreciated. Okay, if you're a man and if you're watching me, appreciate your wife. I mean, there's a whole lot you need to appreciate your wife for. Look at, she carries pregnancy, she gives birth to children, she breastfeed. Women do a whole lot of things, a whole lot. So there is a lot for you to appreciate your wife for. Okay, appreciate your wife, and it kind of also, it will pump her up and she want to do more, and before you know it, you have a very loving relationship. So appreciation, both side, everyone, appreciate your husband, appreciate your spouse. Generally, just pick on the good things, dwell on the good things more, appreciate each other, and it will help your relationship. The last tip on my list, but not the least, is prayer. Prayer is very, very important. I had to put it as number 5 on my list, not because it's the least of them or it's actually the most important, but the way it worked for me. All right, you can't just jump into prayer when you still have resentment in your heart against your spouse. You can't just jump into prayer when you do not respect your husband, or you do not respect your wife, or you treat your wife so badly. God will not even answer your prayer, because you don't honor your wife. It will be a hindrance. It's there in the Bible to be a hindrance to your answers to prayer. Okay, so prayer is very, very important, and it's also important for us to understand that our God does not work in a place of disunity, a place of discord, a place of chaos. Our God operates better in a place of peace. That is why when people say, a lot of time when people say peace, the next thing that follows is peace. Next thing that follows is prosperity. It's always peace and prosperity, because these two things work hand in hand. Our God operates in a place of peace. He's not going to come into your situation and take control when there is so much, and like there is so much rancor, there is so much fighting. You have to calm down, you have to communicate, forgive each other, respect each other, come to God in a place of prayer. Because honestly, prayer is one thing that has kept me every step of the way of my life. It's not just about marriage, like my whole life, starting from when I was like, for as long as I can remember, prayer is something that has really, really helped me, kept me every step, like held me together every step of the way. So therefore, prayer is very important. And in this context, God is the originator of marriage. Like, just imagine when you buy a product and then the product is under warranty, and then before the warranty expires, the product or maybe the device develops fault and you take it back to the company. They're not going to complain. They are going to just take the product, look at it and fix it for you. Why? Because they are the manufacturers of this product. So it is their pride that this product is working in your hand. That is exactly the way I want you to see marriage. God is the originator of marriage. This is an institution that he has established. And it's a lifetime warranty. It's not like normal ML product that gives you 2 years warranty or 3 years. No, this is marriage. If God is at the center of your marriage, it is a lifetime warranty. Every time you come to him after 10 years, he's there for you. 20 years is there for you. 40 years is there for you. All right. So it's not as if after like 10 years, 15 years, your warranty expires and you cannot come to God in a place of prayer. That is not, that is not the way it is. Okay. So with God, is there. He wants us to have a successful marriage. He wants us to come to him and ask for help. Some of the things we pass through in life, or some of the challenges we face, it's not as if God does not know that we have this problem and we need help, but he wants us to come to him in a place of prayer, and so that he can now take a stand and help us. Okay, so prayer can never be overemphasized. Prayer is very, very important. Prayer is the key to prosperity, the key to happy living, to everything. Everything. Prayer is when you have a lot of resentment in your heart against your spouse, and then you come to God in a place of prayer, your prayer might not be answered, because first of all, you have to clear your mind, forgive whoever who has offended you, and then come to God in a place of prayer and seek for forgiveness. How can you be seeking for forgiveness from God when you yourself have not forgiven somebody or the other person who has offended you? So therefore, forgiveness is key, and cannot answers to prayers cannot be achieved without forgiveness. I take myself for example. I remember early days in marriage. Most of the challenges I faced were like the first 4 years of my marriage was almost like a struggle. And I remember one of those times when I'm angry with my husband, I don't pray. Like if I'm angry with my husband for a period of 1 week, I do not pray, because I already know, I have the understanding that if I pray, my prayers will not be answered. So I don't pray. So can you imagine, it's like leaving yourself open and exposing yourself for anything to happen, because we live in a world where you need the covering of God. If God does not cover you, then it's like you're on your own. You need the covering of something, and in this case, God is the ultimate. Like, is the ultimate. So if God does not cover you, you don't have his covering, then it's almost as if you're on your own, like I said. So imagine me being angry for 1 week, being angry for 2 weeks, for 3 days, for as long as I would get angry then, and I don't pray. The prayer, one thing with prayer is, especially when a wife, mother, prays for her husband and her household and her children, is very, very effective. It's very, very effective. Till today, I still feel that my mother's prayer kept me, especially when I was in school. And there was one time we had crisis in my school. I still feel that my mother's prayer kept me and helped me all through my life, and it's still helping me. So the prayer of a mother is very, very effective. The prayer of a wife for her husband and for her household, her children, is very effective. So I can imagine when offenses creep in, and then you go into this resentment mood and you don't pray at all. It's very, very dangerous. It's risky. So it's important that we forgive whatever it is in your mind. You empty it so that you can always, always come to God in prayer, because we are asked to pray without ceasing. Prayer is not something that can be scheduled for. No, you can pray anytime. You can be in the bathroom, you pray in the kitchen, you can pray, you can talk to God anytime and anywhere. All right, so prayer is very important. All right, so these are my 5 tips, and I had to outline them in the order in which it worked for me. So if you have other ways, things that have worked for you, how you've been able to navigate trying times in marriage, and things that really worked for you, you can put them down in the comment section below. I'd love to read from you. This list is not exhaustive, but this is something that is peculiar to me. This is something that I've tried and I've proven and is working. Okay, so that is why I have come out to share these points. Like I said, if you have things to share, if you have comments, reservations, just put them down in the comment section below, and I'll definitely go through them. Marriage is not easy. Marriage is going to stretch you, test you, squeeze you. Marriage is not easy. Yeah, but at the end of the day, is it worth it? Absolutely yes. Absolutely. Marriage is worth it. You see, nobody is designed or meant to live alone. If God wanted Adam to be alone, he wouldn't have created him a helpmate. So nobody is meant to be alone. Not everybody deserves to experience a marriage relationship, except for those, of course, who have been called into celibacy, like the likes of Reverend Fathers and the rest. Okay, but apart from that, we all need relationships. Even if it's not marriage, we all need relationship, we need friends, we need companionship. And in this video, I'm just focusing only on marriage. We all need companionship. Marriage relationship is something that, if it's good, it has a way of molding you, harnessing your potentials in life and helping you reach your goals, helping you reach your potentials in life. So relationship is very important, and yes, marriage is worth it. Okay, so this is where I'll land the plane for today's video. If you enjoyed this content, give it a like, subscribe, and turn on your post notification bell for more videos from this channel. Right? Leave a comment, share. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you. Stay blessed, stay positive, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye.